time to craft, baby. I know it's been a little while, guys, but we are finally back and we are finally working on an amazing and awesome project. Something I've been wanting to do ever since I saw this set, literally ever since I saw this set on Amazon and started freaking out a little bit. It's like the most perfect set ever. I've been waiting for forever to get a Scorpion tank, and on top of that, this set comes with some amazing figures, but today it's time to upgrade the Scorpion tank into a flood tank. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just mixing up a little bit of green stuff with my fingers. Green stuff is a two-part epoxy that you can find on Amazon and eBay. That's at least where I get it, and I would recommend wearing gloves just so you guys can stay away from those bad oils that absorb into your skin. Now we're going to be taking the Scorpion tank and we're going to be adding green stuff all around it. That battle damage looked nice in some areas, which I thought was really important to do. Now we're adding green stuff all the way around this beast. Thankfully, I've made so many flood projects at this point that I think I have a really good understanding on how to make something look good and infected. Now, I took a lot of inspiration from a lot of my other projects. I've actually made a flood tank before, and I definitely feel like this one is going to be better and just way cooler. The most important thing for me was just making sure that it had that infected kind of moldy look all around it. I wanted this thing to look really menacing, crazy, and awesome, so I used a tinfoil ball to get as much of that detail and texture into the project as possible. For the inside of the cockpit, it has been exploded with tendrils. Someone definitely died in there, and now they've made a little base home. The idea is that this Scorpion tank has been a part of the flood for quite a while now, and they're just kind of building on it and moving it around. I thought it would be a kind of fun and interesting project if I made it like this, and I definitely think it's paying off so far. The reason I love using green stuff so much is I can do all of this little detail and it's just gonna harden in like 4 hours. That's the best part about it. And it really makes sculpting things like this on plastic so much easier. Now we're adding on a little bit of crazy detail, which what I mean by that is an elite that has died and kind of fused into the flood tank. I feel like in Halo 3 you kind of had that where you're going around Gravemind and there's these elites dead everywhere and it's just kind of crazy. That's what I wanted to represent here as well. I wanted to make it feel like the tank is just gathering as much biomass as possible and rolling around. And I made a nice little spine for the elite, which I thought was cool. On the other side, I added a dead brute, just a brute warrior, which I thought was a nice little touch as well. Adding some more tendrils around, really getting all that nice detail and texture into this project was so important, and I think I nailed that at the end. And it's just kind of fun, like, it takes forever. This process takes so long. Like doing all this sculpting for this and for, well, you'll see kind of in a minute, it just takes forever, guys. It takes a really long time, but it is so worth it in the end because I get to look at it and say, dang, like I made this. It's pretty dang cool. Now we're moving on to the figures here. And I will say this is a top tier figure set. You get 2 hunters, an elite warlord, and a nice Spartan, and a pretty nice Marine as well. Like, the figures in the set for what it's priced at is just really good. And I think I'm gonna start with the hunters here. So I've actually made some flood hunters in the past, and people really like them. Also, just a side note, these hunters that come in this set are fantastic. They look extremely banished, they have awesome banished colors, and I think that just made this project and these hunters even cooler was the original Mega Constructs paint job that they did. But now I gotta break up all these pieces with my Dremel and start taking things apart and making it feel like the flood has expanded past the hunter's armor, which also makes them just a little bit bigger, which I think is good. The hunter design from Mega is not perfect. It's definitely very good, but I think it could be a smidge bit better. And this just makes them a little bit bigger, which I like. Careful when you're doing this. I need to get like a glove, so if that thing flies off and it hits my hands, it's not going to hurt too bad, but be careful if you're using any kind of tool like that. Now we're breaking up the Elite Warlord chest piece as well, and we're just going to be resculpting that. And then I took another Elite here, and I'm going to cut this boy in half. And we're going to make this other Elite a little bit taller. This is something I've never done in a project. I've never tried. I've seen people like Wildfire do it on Instagram and a bunch of other people. And I think I'm going to make a really nice Elite Arbiter with this kind of style. But I wanted to give it a shot for the Flood here, and you guys will have to let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. Now we're doing what we did to the tank. We're wrapping some green stuff. You guys have seen this process countless times in all of my videos. But a little bit of green stuff, a little bit of tinfoil texture. And then we're just going to be adding in the middle piece for where the infection form is. My favorite part about making any of these flood forms is just adding the armor around, because that's when you get to be creative and make your own style and have it be your own kind of figure. On top of that, I wanted to make this Elite head feel really menacing and kind of crazy. I wanted him to feel like he was in pain as he was dying and he's screaming, and just make it kind of seem brutal. And then I had to figure out where his neck was gonna go, and that was kind of hard. And the nice thing about green stuff is it's a really forgiving material, so you can kind of figure it out. But I went for like this really crazy snapped look, and I think it turned out really awesome. Then we're just adding this in the middle for the little tendrils, and we're moving on to the Flood Hunter. Now we're adding in all those little pieces for the Flood Hunter. Now, they don't have to be absolutely perfect or anything, just like the other ones, but this is where you get to be as creative as possible. And I wanted to have a lot of these infection forms kind of coming out of the Flood Hunters. Make them feel a little bigger, make them feel a little crazier, and then we add some tendrils as well. Adding these kind of almost veins to the Flood gives it so much texture in the end, it's really awesome. And then I go through every single one of these veins and I just add a little bit of stippling detail, which is me just kind of poking my X-Acto blade really fast on it. And it makes this awesome look that feels very Flood. Then we're adding a little bit of infection spores on the front in various different areas of this guy, and another little tendril there. All these little details really add up, makes it feel so much more Flood and so much more unique every single time. We're using Citadel paint here. Citadel paint is a great paint to use. It is my ideal paint. That in Army Painter, I feel like Citadel is a little bit better, but I need an absolute ton of this paint here. And we're gonna be mixing it together. This is going immediately onto the bad boy itself, the big ass Scorpion tank. And look at that tank, guys. I am so happy with how that looks with green stuff. And now I'm gonna be really happy when I get the painting on it. Now this is the best and like the worst time ever, because now you gotta go through, you gotta paint everything, you gotta make sure everything looks good. You gotta make sure every single piece of green stuff is kind of covered. But at the end, this is just like kind of the 80% mark of being done with this project. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see kind of everything come together and see that your painting skills, if they have improved or they've kind of stayed the same, which I think I'm gonna make some big leaps and bounds with my painting skills here really soon and give you guys some awesome customs coming up. I also plan on doing different styles of things. Halo is amazing and I love Halo, but I gotta do different stuff, guys. I'm an artist at the end of the day, and I'm getting a little burnt out of just doing Halo all the time. I love making Halo customs. That's never gonna change. But I also want to start doing different things. So if you guys wanna let me know what you would like to see in the comments down below, just send me weird ideas that maybe you have. It does not have to be, oh, do this video game, do that video game. Give me an idea, make a story, let me build upon that. I find that stuff really fun and fun to interact with you guys. Now we are going back into the painting here, and we're just gonna be working on the Flood Hunters. And oh my goodness, I love my Flood Hunters. Also wanted to add a nice bit of blood down here for where the Elite is kind of screaming, like his body got transformed right there. and all of his fluids just kind of came out. Pretty gross kind of idea in picture, but I feel like for this, it's perfect. And oh my goodness, 343, can we stop with the bullshit and just please, 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 make a good Halo game with some Flood, and just make it M again, and stop messing around, dude. Just stop messing around. Like, let's get back to the good shit. And the Flood is a part of that. The Flood is a huge part of Halo and a very important part. And there's just endless potential with them, and I need them back now. Like, that's just kind of the easiest way to put it for me, I guess. But this Flood Hunter, all the customs are looking absolutely fantastic. And this is a Army Painter wash, if you guys are wondering. It is a dark tone wash. You can get it on eBay. And it's pretty amazing, honestly. It's really amazing. Like, it makes this project look 10 times better, and that is the entire reason that I use it, is because it's just great for Flood projects. It literally makes Flood projects just look so much better. It's like a cheat code, so I would recommend doing it. Now we're adding a little bit of purple there for the Dead Elite. I really like making like dead figures in things, especially like Flood as well, but also just in general. I don't know, there's something cool about them. Maybe I should mold a bunch of figures and make a bunch of dead ones or some shit, I don't know. Adding a little bit of red blood for the Brute, and then we're getting onto the wash. Watch how like the wash changes everything in this project immediately. Adds more texture, gloss, color. It's OP, it's broken. Like, it's just a super good product, and it just works perfectly for Flood, because this is like the exact color that Flood should be. And yeah, I was really happy with it. Now that we are done with this wash, this project is so close to being done. All these days of work, finally over, 100% worth it. This is a project that I'm going to be sending to a few different people to do a couple reviews on, which I cannot wait. And I'm sure you guys will like that as well. And I hope you enjoy.